Hey guys, welcome back. Orb.aurabomb here, bringing you the next episode of our live deck profiles. Today we are talking about Zacian Space Dogs, Super Space Dogs, or I guess most people call it Zacian ADP. But we're going to be going the deck profile over today, so don't forget to drop a like on the video if you guys are excited. This deck, I am very, you guys have always known I'm a big fan of ADP. I uploaded a billion videos of that deck. I've always been tinkering with the deck, adding different numbers, trying different things, seeing what I like, what I don't like. I love this deck. It's so much fun to play. I just like the idea of taking extra prizes with ADP. I like the idea of having a permanent choice band. It's really, really cool to me. So before we end the video, couple things I want to talk about. First of all, link in the description if you guys want to join the Discord. My buddy Gumball, who helps lead the Discord with me, wants me to start getting more people in. So if you guys want to talk to me directly more often, just hang out with a bunch of people. That's the best way to do it. Hop in the Discord. I think the first 100 people are invites are free to join, as well as if you guys want to get these deck profiles way earlier, check them out on Patreon. All people that support me on Patreon get these deck lists way earlier than everybody else, so that's really exciting for them, as well as a bunch of other perks you can check out there. And of course, Twitter, Instagram. Drop a like in the video if you want a chance to win a couple of these Sword and Shield codes, as well as a booster box, and a lot of other things we'll be giving out thanks to our lovely sponsors at Garden Gaming. Anyways, that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. Now, we're playing Zacian. This is a preliminary deck list. Sorry for the cough there. Preliminary deck list, first time playing it out. I really like it. I made a few changes. I was originally playing Keldeo in here. I took it out because I just found that playing Water Energies and Keldeo kind of, like, this Zacian is really strong and a really good card, and playing things like Keldeo kind of like don't help with the strategy, even though Keldeo can help in a lot of matchups, like a lot of fire matchups, like Reshizard and stuff like that, or a lot of like maybe decks that play mostly GX Pokemon like Mewtwo and stuff like that. It could help a lot. And also against Obstagoon, as you guys saw in the matchups, it can actually hit past Obstagoon's attack, which is kind of important. But I decided for the time being, I'm going to try cutting it. I might put one back in later with a few Water Energies, but I just really liked playing the streamlined, kind of very consistent version of this deck that really focuses on setting up Zacian. Zacian is 220 HP, that hits for 230, and it can't attack the following turn, and it has a really strong ability that is draw 3 cards. When you use the ability, you can draw 3 cards. Am I focusing on the camera at all? There we go. When you use the ability, you can draw 3 cards. If any of those cards are on Metal Energy, you may attach them to your Pokemon, to this Pokemon, and then your turn ends. So it's really good turn 1 if you go first, because you can't play a turn of supporter anyways. You're just going to pass your turn. In most cases, you're going to pass your turn, because most cases you're just going to attach an energy ADP and pass, because we're not playing Ends Resolve, we're not playing Bayday, we don't have any way to accelerate energy. I mean, we do have Metal Patch Energy Switch. That's an option you can play, but I'm not playing that. I just find that it's too inconsistent and not really worth playing. So in my testing, so I actually really like just, using this turn 1, being able to attach if you draw 2 energies, which I do a lot more often than like you would think, especially when I'm only playing 8 Metal Energies, and just being able to draw 3 cards is really good. It's really good for stamp proofing you in games where you just don't feel like attacking, or if you whiff an attack for whatever reason, you could just draw 3 cards. It's just a really good ability. You are weak to fire, but you do have a -30 resistance to grass, which is something I guess I was really hoping it was psychic, because that would have been better. And also resistance is -30 now, so it's kind of relevant. But yeah, we were playing 2 Zacians, and of course we are playing 2 Arceus, Dialga, Palkia as well. Ultimate Ray is still good to set up your Pokemon. Ultra Creation GX, obviously if you have just a single Metal Energy, you get +30 damage, which is actually kind of good. A lot of people don't realize this, but you don't need to have the Water Energy every time. Just doing +30 is really good against tag team matchups, because you're going to take 2 knockouts anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much if you take extra prizes. But of course, if you do have a Water Energy attached, and in our deck cases, it's only going to be Aurora Energies. If you have an Aurora Energy attached as well as a Metal, or 2 Aurora Energies, or whatever you want to do, you take extra prizes when you take knockouts with your Pokemon. So it's really cool. Another card I'm thinking about playing in this deck that I'm not currently playing right now is like a Lucario Melmetal, because just having that option for a GX attack for energy disruption plus -30 damage could be good with Zacian, because that means that with a Metal Frying Pan, you take -60 damage, which is pretty good on a Pokemon that can hit you for 220 damage. But more importantly, having that damage boost, by the way, I meant 230 damage. Having that damage boost means that with ADP, you hit 260, which means with 1 extra damage counter, you knock out most tag teams in format, and you already knock out pretty much every non-VMAX Pokemon in format as well. Kind of important. Excuse me. Kind of important, because with a Fine Band, you can OHKO Mewtwo's. So it is a pretty it's a pretty good card. I like it a lot. I like the combination a lot. Now, I am going to be playing a turbo version of this that doesn't play ADP in the future, but for the time being, I'm just sticking with this just for the Fierce first matchup. And I'm going to check out the turbo version, see if I like it. I'm a little bit worried about the turbo version because you don't actually do very well versus tag team matchups because you don't hit those OHKO numbers versus tag teams. But you could always play something like Shrine of Punishment that could help reduce damage as well, that can help damage GX Pokemon, so it's something to keep in mind, just for future deck, a deck I'll play in the future. So yeah, we're gonna move on. 3 Jirachis, I couldn't fit in 4, so we're playing 3. 2 Cryogonal. There's a lot of doll matchups out there. We always have item unlocking is pretty good after an ADP boost. Of course, we don't have water energies anymore. We have to find Aurora energies, but that's actually not too hard to find when you play 4 and you play a lot of drawing cards like Professor's Research. But being able to item lock, which is good for dolls, good versus Morpeko sometimes, because Morpeko could really be annoying sometimes. Being able to knock out a doll with a Cryogonal, stopping them from laying down another doll, could be pretty useful, especially if they only have 1 doll down. Good versus, of course, doll stall, and just generally good item locking in case you can't do much else that turn, or like attacking with your Zacian or your ADP doesn't really accomplish you much. I like the Cryogonal a lot. I still think it's a pretty strong card. Fion, I feel like it's a must again because of all the dolls, like I mentioned earlier. Fion just feels really good. Fion's also super good in the Obstagoon matchup, which I found out in that matchup. Being able to switch them from their Pokemon from their Obstagoon that attack that stops basics from damaging you, pretty strong. And overall, sometimes they have their big wall Pokemon in the active, and being able to force it out to take a knockout is really good, especially since you take 2 prizes. And of course, I always do like playing Absol because Jirachi decks are rampant right now, and 1 Dedenne, that way you can just draw out of situations. Since you can't play supporters turn 1, having that 1 of Dedenne could be pretty good. But that's it for the Pokemon. Like I mentioned earlier, you could always play Keldeo and just cut out something and maybe play a few water energies as well. Although I found that 2 water energies is not enough. You want to play 3, or actually you want to play 4. But then I'm not playing Roar Energy, which I kind of want to play because of Guzmahala. But we'll go over that as we go on. I'm just trying to think of all the things I want to talk about before we move on. Now there's a lot of trainers in this deck, so we're going to go over them. Hopefully you have enough space on the board. 4 Quick Balls. Amazing. A godsend for this deck. Being able to search for any basic by discarding a card, pretty good. Get your Jirachis. You can reuse Fion over and over and over again with relative ease because of this card. Obviously, you can get you the Dedenne turn 1. You can get Absol. You can get your Zacian or your ADP. You can get your Cryogonals. Like it's just so good. It's just so strong. It's so good. Quick Balls is a godsend. Thank you, base TCG players. Thank you, base TCG gods. 4 custom catchers. Once again, I've never been a huge fan of being forced to play custom catchers in my decks because I don't like custom catcher as a card, but you have to play them. You just really need to target down these dudes, and I don't want to play Pokemon catcher because I don't feel like switching, but you could always fit in. I know there's a lot of decks in Japan that are playing 4 custom catchers, 1 great catcher, and like 2 or 3 Pokemon catchers as well, because it's all about gusting up these dudes. And since I am playing Professor's Research in this deck, you can lose these custom catchers, but it's easy enough to build up your hand thanks to Cynthia, Caitlyn, and stuff like that. So you don't always have to discard these dudes. And of course, you really only need to do it maybe once or twice a game. So it's not like the biggest deal if you lose them throughout the game. So I'm gonna go ahead and push this up. Hopefully there's no glare. All right, perfect. Now, another reason why this deck is so busted and why I like playing with it is Metal Patch. We have a Metal type Aqua Patch. This is actually called Metal Saucer. Once again, attaches a Metal Energy from each discard pile to one of your bench Metal Pokemon. Amazing card. That is why this deck is so good, because you can easily burst up a Zacian out of nowhere. No longer are you in a bad position if they knock out your ADP after you've GX attacked, or even if you haven't even had a GX attack. If they knock out your Space Dogs and you can't do, and you don't have another Pokemon set up, well, most of the time a Metal Energy will be in the discard pile because they knocked out your ADP. Otherwise, you can just discard them with Quick Balls and Guzmahalas and stuff like that, and then you just play your Metal Saucers. And then all of a sudden, you have a Zacian, a Zacian. I need to start calling it Zacian, because I'm pretty sure that's its name. Because it's like, Zamazenta is magenta, and Zacian is God, I can't remember the name of that color, but I know it's like, it has that sound. Somebody will comment it, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not Zacian, although I think Zacian's a better name. Just because it looks like it says Zacian. But anyways, I don't know. It's up in the air. We'll see. Once I figure out the official maybe the official pronunciation is already out there, but Zacian feels like the right way to say it because I know there's a color and I know it and I can't remember it right now. Anyways, back to the deck profile. 3 tag calls. Once again, want to play 4. 3 seems to be fine though. It's one of those few cuts I don't really mind making too much. Once again, getting your tag team Pokemon and your tag team supporters, which is pretty important. We got 3 switches because switching is important. We have 2 reset stamps. I like playing 2 because I am playing discarding cards like the Dene, like Professor's Research. So even like I like playing these because I don't want to lose them. You know what I mean? Like if I lose one, it's not a big deal, but I want to make sure I have the second one. And let's go over our tools over here in Stadium. We have 1 Great Catcher. Oh, hold on. 1 Great Catcher. We have 2 escape boards. There's the tools. There we go. We got 2 escape boards over there. We got 1 metal frying pan. Just gives you that resistance to fire, which is pretty good. And, you know, it's hard to OHKO Zacian whenever you have 250. You have to hit them for 250 to take an OHKO, which is pretty good. 1 giant charm or big charm, whichever one it's called. This is huge. This is, no pun intended. This is a really important card because usually you would play Choice Helmet on the ADP, and that way things like Family Zard can't OHKO you, but attacks that hit past effects can OHKO you, like Reshizard's attack. So Reshizard with 6 energies can hit 300 and hit past the effects of the Choice Helmet. Now, with Big Charm, this gives you 30 more HP. It doesn't reduce damage by 30, so you're no longer in effect. You just have 30 more HP than you did before, which means your ADP now has 310 HP, which means Family Zard can't OHKO you, which means Reshizard's GX attack can't OHKO you, which means you shouldn't be OHKO'd in one hit by pretty much any attack in the game if you have this Big Charm attached. So, pretty good card. Very, very important, I think, so I'm going to keep that card in the deck. I'm playing 1 Fine Band. Once again, this is what hits you. This is what lets you hit those 2 10 numbers. If Mewtwo is really, really, really good, I'm going to bump this up to 2 because that means both Zacians can hit that 210 number. So something to keep in mind, or a 270 number after an ADP boost. So I do like the Fine Band a lot. It just gives you, it lets your Pokemon do 10 more damage. This is good in general, but being able to hit 270 is really, really good. So I do like that. And we're only playing 1 Stadium now. Because we're no longer playing Keldeo, I don't feel the reason to play multiple Chaotic Swell. I'm still playing 1 because Guzmahala is kind of important to let you search the Aurora energy. And also lets you search any of these tools. We have a wide array. This is pretty important to get turn 1. These are good if you have Jirachi. These are good if you're looking for OHKO. So I still like the Guzmahala. But as far as stadiums go, there's no real stadium I want to play in this deck. So I'm playing Chaotic Swell just to disrupt a little bit. But really, you could replace this stadium with anything. You could play Power Plant if you want to, but of course that turns off your own Jirachi. You can play Viridian Forest, but Viridian Forest can sometimes help your opponent out, which is never really that great. There's no other stadium I can think of that's like super good that I would want to play in this deck. You don't want to play Mount Coronet because Mount Coronet can get you your energy out of the discard pile, but you usually want them in the discard pile for your Metal Frying Pan. Of course, you can control when you get them, but I just generally don't ever feel like I need to get energies out of the discard pile into my hand because I've never had a turn where I've whiffed that many energy or like, oh, if only I had a Metal Coronet. And I played this deck like a good 15, 20 times now, and I made changes as I went by, and I just never felt like I really needed energies in my hand. So I was thinking about Mount Coronet in the back of my head, but I never really thought I needed it, so I never put it in. But that's going to be the trainers. Let's go over the supporters now. As we clean up this wonderful mess of cards. Let's see, and see, and see, and see. Okay, all right, cool. We're so good at this. Now for the supporters. We are playing 4 Professor Researches. Once again, I really like the turbo aspect of this deck. Being able to just discard, draw 7 is good. You don't mind this. The cool thing about this deck, the same reason why people played End Resolve in this deck before is the same reason why I'm playing this right now. You actually, like a lot of combo pieces in this deck, you actually do not mind losing in pretty much any point in the game because you have multiple copies of it and they're easy enough to find and recover and stuff like that. So this is good because just discard draw 7 is just strong in general. Helps you search for those things like Metal Saucer and your Aurora energy and stuff like that. So overall, pretty strong card. I like it a lot. 2 Cynthia Caitlin. Whenever I play Tag Call, it's just nice to have a an item way to draw you a few more cards. It also gets you supporters back, so it can get you cards like Malolana, which is just important to have a lot of the time for healing. There's a lot of 2 KO matchups. Really important for Morpeko, because Morpeko usually can't OHKO you, so being able to use Malolana is just strong in general. And 1 Guzmahala. I just think this card is so good, being able to get you the special energy at this point, because we don't play basic waters anymore, and I don't feel the need to play basic waters. Guzmahala is good, it's strong, happy, yada yada. So there you go. Not many supporters there, but you don't really need many supporters. So there we go. Thanks to Tag Call, you're able to draw a bunch anyways. 4 Aurora Energies. This card is a Rainbow Energy, but whenever you attach it, instead of taking 1 damage counter, you have to discard a card from your hand instead. So pretty good, because you like discarding, you don't like damage counters, especially in this deck where like the reason why things like Zacian and ADP are so strong is because you're like that 10 points above the threshold. Like being at 280 means that you actually whiff. A lot of opponents whiff knockouts on you by like 10 damage, which is really, really important. And of course, if you have Big Charm, you don't want to be at 300 HP, you want to be at 310. And then Zacian is the same way. 210 is a lot easier to hit than 220. Imagine Morpeko, he only needs 2 Electro Powers to hit 210, but they need 3 to hit 220, things like that. And we are playing 8 Metal Energies. Now, like I mentioned earlier, if you want the Keldeo, Keldeo is still a good card, especially if you expect fire to be really good. Like I said, because you can hit 270 with Zacian to OHKO and return, I really like the idea of not playing Keldeo and just kind of trading really well, because you take extra prizes. And they only take 2 prizes off you, and in most cases you're taking 3 prizes off them. So I like the Zacian a lot in that matchup, just for hitting 270, getting the OHKO, and moving on. If you think Keldeo is really important, you can always take out 2 of these and probably 3 other cards from the deck, although I'm not really sure what I would cut. And you can make these, you can make 3 or 4 waters ideally. 4 waters, and maybe cut out a metal as well, I guess. It's not ideal, but you can. You can play 4 waters and 1 Keldeo, and that actually makes at least setting up the Keldeo really consistent. And then you can set up Cryogonal a little bit more often. A lot of lists are only playing 3 Metal Saucers, so that's a card you can cut as well. And the Pokemon are really important, so I don't want to cut out any of the Pokemon. You also kind of want to play a second Swell, I think. You don't really need Frying Pan, and then you would just cut out anything else you want for a second Swell, because Swell becomes a lot more important if you're playing the Keldeo, because the reason why you play the Swell is for the Keldeo and Power Plants. But that's gonna be the deck, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'm a huge fan. Once again, always a huge fan of this deck. So Zacian, really, really strong addition to the Space Dogs deck, to ADP. I'm really excited about playing this in the future. I will be playing this against a load of matchups, and just playing a bunch of different decks throughout the whole like pre-Sun and Moon, the pre-Sword and Shield release date things that I always do, like do the live deck profiles before I move on to TCGO once I get to add to TCGO. Well, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you haven't already. Subscribe, share, all that good jazz. Join the Discord. Join the Patreon if you want to get these deck profiles early. Leave a comment answering the common question of the day, which is going to be, what do you prefer, Zacian or Zamazenta? Design-wise, I think I like Zamazenta more. I think I like the colors more. The Zacian, like, sword in mouth doggo. That is kind of dumb. Although it does remind me of Zoro from One Piece, and I am a One Piece fan, so there's that. Let me know in the comments down below which one you prefer for a chance to win a bunch of stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.